What is going on, family? How is everybody doing? I hope everybody is wonderful. Get your libations, get whatever you need. Today's not going to be a long show. I'm going to get into it. I just have a few things to say, but I didn't even want to talk about this. So listen, I want to, before we get into this and before I forget, please don't forget, I haven't set a date for this. Where do we go from here? Martin Luther King Jr., Chaos of Community. That's going to be our next book club book. One of our mods has been nice enough to post a link to a free Adobe or whatever, so you can download it. So please, 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 you can get started on that, because we do not have an actual, date for it. So you got plenty of time, because even when I give the date, I'll give you enough time, because the conference is coming up and a lot of stuff is happening. So I just want to put it out there. You'll have more than enough time to figure everything out. So family, before I get started, because like I said, fam, I didn't want to talk about all the madness about this Popeyes chicken sandwich, or the frenzy around the chicken sandwich. And some of y'all might be surprised what I'm going to say about everything that's happening with the chicken sandwich. Before we get into it, I want you to please like. If you have not hit the like button, you in there and you haven't hit the button, please hit the bell. Please go to donatebrown.com if you want to donate, or go to patreon.com/ycarnell. You can do either one of those that you want to do. Either one of those that you want to do would be great. So, cost you no money for that second one. So here's what I want to do, fam. I want you to just, because I'm going to bring callers in kind of early. And I know some of y'all feel kind of funny about the callers, but I'm going to bring them in kind of early for a reason. Because we have to have a discourse. Because I'm going to make this chicken sandwich into something else, if that makes any sense. There has to be some kind of reckoning about who we are and what we value. But that's going to come in later. So right now, listen. I want to be totally transparent. Now, you all know I mostly exist off lentils and different things of that nature. Beans and pinto beans. I have preferences. All the legumes, all the veggies. But I had the chicken sandwich. I'm just going to put it out there. And I'm going to give you some of my observations. Not in terms of the sandwich. Forget the sandwich. People are always taking these hot takes on sandwiches. Don't y'all have... But I want to tell you the experience of being there. First of all, we all know that fast food is poison. So to go there, you make a decision that I'm going to have some poison just to find out what's going on. I'm going to take a little poison in my system, just try to figure out what this is. Now, I didn't stand in anybody's line, because the funniest thing was there was no line except for the drive-thru. There were parking spaces and I walked in. So that didn't make any sense to me from jump. That the line was that long. The line was almost into the street for the sandwich. Now, for the sandwich that, maybe it's my system now, but the sandwich that caused my heart to throttle because it was so salty. I don't even know who's talking about this overrated sandwich, which makes me think what I put up earlier. I put up a tweet that says, I want to know if there were black people who were on social media promoting this sandwich and doing ads, and they hadn't told us they were doing ads for this sandwich, because the sandwich is highly overrated. And it's not good for you. Not just in terms of, it's not just in terms of like fast food generally. I don't know how much salt does a sandwich have to have in it to make your chest feel like a motorbike? That's what I want to know. So of course I won't be doing that again. But I did it because I feel like it's the same reason. It's the same reason that I partake. Like, there's a lot of things that I partake of in terms of ADOS culture that I watch and listen to. I even know who rappers are. I know who the baby is, or Meg Thee Stallion. I know who all those people are, because I don't think you should talk about blackness or black life if you don't anchor yourself in it in some way. That don't mean you go and eat all the chicken sandwiches. That don't mean you can't go vegan. You can do all of that. But I'm saying that you have to be in the community. You have to access it. You have to kind of understand what is going on, because I saw the disorganization firsthand when I went there. So what does that mean? What are you trying to say, Yvette? What are you trying to say about what you saw? the first thing I want to say before I even get to the politics of it and how this chicken sandwich impacts our politics, before I even get to that part of it, what I want to say is, Antonio and I agree and disagree on the sandwich in terms of what the sandwich means. But one place that we do agree is that there was chaos. Like Popeyes set this up for chaos. I went in there, and so there's not a line for the chicken sandwich inside. There was a line wrapped around outside, but there's no line inside. It was two people in front of me, which is the same as you find in, I think, any fast food restaurant. That's when you walk in, there's a couple of people in front of you. No big deal. So I get there, and I ordered a sandwich and some french fries. And some people come in from outside that say that they ordered a sandwich like 10 minutes ago, which doesn't make any sense. It's not even a line. So what's going on? I guess it's the people outside. Inside, I don't know. But at that time, the woman behind the counter, well, first, let me back up. The man behind the counter, because they're not used to that kind of business, and Popeyes didn't do anything to kind of cushion them or triage, tell them how they're going to have to triage people, how to do this. They didn't have any kind of prep work. So the guy's like, we got to figure this out. And then the woman comes and she says, you shut up. I'm just going to start giving sandwiches to people that's here. It's too backed up. I just got to get the sandwiches. So the people who had sandwiches were the people who had gotten the sandwiches obviously later when some other people had walked outside or something. And I don't even know how you had to have them walk outside because it wasn't that crowded. Like, why did you have them wait or tell them it was 8 to 10 minutes? Because it wasn't. I saw a bunch of chicken sandwiches when I was there. And then they say, so I get a chicken sandwich that should have been for somebody else. And then I got an extra chicken sandwich by mistake. Okay. Then I hear the lady in the back say, we out of chicken sandwiches. Then she comes back and say, no, we're not out of chicken sandwiches. We can still take orders. Then somebody come back and say, no, we can't. We out of chicken sandwiches. We can't take no more orders. So understand, all this madness is going on over something that I feel like could have allegedly, I don't want no trouble out of Popeyes, give me a heart attack. My chest was a motorbike. I don't know how you put that much sodium in anything. What is this here today? What is this? But see, the problem is, so what they ended up doing is saying, well, tell everybody no more chicken sandwiches. Or go put a note like what we see. Let me just bring this up. There was somebody who had this up because what they're doing is this is rampant and rogue disorganization. And I found this on Twitter. They misspelled sandwiches, but they put this note on the window. See, the problem is for the people in the drive-through. They don't see this until they get there. By the time the drive-through line was so long, by the time you get there, you see this. Very different than what Chick-fil-A does out with their little iPads and everything. By the time you get there and see that there are no more sandwiches, you've been in line about 45 minutes and you're upset. You're not upset with the way they frame this. Oh, Negroes out here just fighting over chicken sandwiches. You mad at Popeyes because Popeyes has disorganized this in such a way that they are manufacturing frustration. Because you're already frustrated. Like, you got to think about it. And I was talking about this earlier today. You got to really understand what this is. Popeyes and fast food restaurants, because a lot of our communities have no standing restaurants. It becomes a restaurant. You think about it. They sell the green beans, they sell rice, they sell fried chicken. A lot of those ingredients are Sunday dinner at a lot of ADOS households. So it becomes a restaurant. So it's not like, and as Antonio pointed out in his video, like these are in black communities. So it's not like we're going to some foreign place to get something. No, we're going into a space that has become what somebody in the chat just pointed out. These are food deserts. You know, when I was in Louisville, Dr. Cosby, you know, he was talking about how there are no standing restaurants in the black part of Louisville. So these become restaurants. Nobody's just trying to go get a fast food sandwich. It becomes more than that. Because we don't have restaurants. So I don't think people understand exactly what we're looking at. Now, some of this stuff really did just get kind of wild in terms of how people were reacting to a sandwich that is vastly overrated. Vastly overrated. And you can fight me. I'll tell you that it tastes like what you would expect from a Popeyes chicken sandwich. When I ate fast food before, I've had Popeyes before. I've had Popeyes chicken before I decided I wanted to limit to no meat. Right? I've had it before. It tastes like what you would expect a Popeyes chicken sandwich to taste like. Popeyes doesn't serve bad chicken. They've never served a non-tasty chicken, chicken breast and wing. So it tastes like what you would expect it to taste like. It's nothing to write home about, though. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out who did this. Who did this? You know, and so you may be somebody talking about this. See, you may be somebody talking about this who has never seen a Popeye or a Popeyes anywhere. Like I saw Janelle Monáe talking about, well, maybe we should move the Popeyes to the voting booth. Well, there are a lot of reasons why ADOS don't vote. Mainly, the people who we vote for tend to not do anything for us. They tend to pander to us and not do anything. But see, Janelle, I'm not trying to be mean to you, but the point is, I bet your community doesn't even have a Popeyes, right? You live in the hills or wherever. Like, you don't get to have that conversation. See, the problem that we run into is multifold. But what we're going to have to do, one of the things that we have to stop doing as we go through this whole conversation, well, two things we have to do. The first thing we have to do is we have to stop getting distracted. So we get distracted and we forget about reparations, black politics, because Popeyes got a new sandwich. Did you hear about Popeye's sandwich? Are you going to get a sandwich? If you are going to get a sandwich, I'm not even judging you. I ate the sandwich because I wanted to find out and I regret it. But if you are going to do it, no judgment from me per se. Only thing I would say is that you gotta think about why you going to Popeyes. Because nobody ever cooked chicken better than us. And I thought about this too. When I go there, and that's part of the reason I partake of certain things. When I go there, I think about certain things. And I think about the fact that this is a money funnel. This is a funneling money out of our community. And we don't really have a community per se like we used to. And that's fine because that was Jim Crow. And I'm not going to be nostalgic about Jim Crow. But what I'm saying is that they're siphoning off our money. And you have to ask yourself, like, we don't own any restaurants. We're not an ownership group, and we got cut out of that. The thing you have to understand is that we will stand in line for a lot of stuff. It's not the matter of fact that we just like chicken, and the only thing we'll ever stand in line for is chicken. And oh, why we gotta act so crazy over chicken? No, there's this restaurant, and I don't know who owned it. This is not an ad. I don't do advertisements, especially undisclosed advertisements. But there's a restaurant in Atlanta called Slutty Vegan. It's a vegan restaurant, vegan burgers and fries and stuff like that. And if you go there, one of the things that you find is that it's a line. It's a long line for vegan food with mostly black people. So when you see that, the thing you have to ask yourself is, how are they telling us that we're unwilling, that we'll only wait in line for unhealthy food? See, the problem is that you haven't put a bunch of, and I'm not saying that this is healthy because there's some fatty vegan foods too. But I'm saying, like, if you were to listen to people, you would think that, oh, we would never stand in line for vegan. We just love chicken. No, it's about what's here. See, the plant is only as healthy as the soil around it. And we've been put into spaces with a lot of unhealthy soil, with a lot of foods that will cause your heart to throttle. Motorbike. That doesn't mean that's who we are, though. People getting hype over vegan food. That doesn't mean because we got hype over the Popeyes chicken sandwich that's who we are. That means that's what we grew up around. We grew up, even before Popeyes, we grew up around fried chicken a lot of times. We grew up around a lot of foods that weren't necessarily good for us because that's what a bottom caste does. That's how a bottom caste lives. That's how a bottom caste group eats. Part of health is connected to how to be healthy. And even that has shifted, right? We've seen a lot of shifts. And let's also understand that this sandwich is $4, $3.99. So you get to be a part of like this cultural thing because America, not us, America has connected cultural moments with consumerism. Culture and consumerism are connected in America, and that was intentional. So you get to be a part of a cultural moment at a restaurant that is in your community for $4. Popeyes knew what they were doing. But the thing becomes, I'm not going to let people judge us too harshly for that, because you're trying to you're trying to make blackness into a pathology by saying, "Oh, look at these Negroes. See, we can't get nowhere because Negroes eat chicken." No, there are a lot of reasons, and I blame ADOS all the time. We're gonna get to what I think should happen, but it's not just because we bought a $4 chicken sandwich. That's not it. That's not the biggest part. The chicken sandwich is where we are. Antonio pointed out to you that these are all in the black community. The problem comes when you're mistreated by Popeyes, what your reaction should be. And when Popeyes puts you in a position, in a predicament where you are frustrated because they, as a multi-million-dollar corporation, did not plan properly for the outlay of these sandwiches, for the rollout of this sandwich, that is their problem. They should be held accountable. Somehow we don't ever want to hold corporations accountable for what they did. You put this chicken sandwich out there, and I don't think that, I have no reason to believe that you didn't know the frenzy that your chicken sandwich would cause, especially since you planned on going up against Chick-fil-A. That was a coordinated thing. I went online today with the look at the dude who was doing the ads and all that stuff, and this is all very coordinated. You knew what it was going to be. You knew what it was. So I'm trying to figure out. See, there's a problem with this kind of, well, why did y'all stand in line? Well, I just kind of remember, I remember mostly white people and Asians, but mostly white, stood in line for iPhones. $1,500, $1,000 iPhones for hours. A phone that you did not need. You had the last one, but you got to get the next one. The new one's coming out. I got to go get it. These were not us. We did not have, for the most part, that was not us in that line, because we did not, for the most part, have the money to go and get this phone. We didn't have the money for all the tents and everything that came with getting the next phone. We didn't have that. But nobody said, oh, well, what's wrong with the white people? They out here with the phone. It's out here. They out here with the phone. See, this is America. You have to understand that this is America. America is all about consumerism. That's what America is. That's what America does. America has set us up and crafted us and built us. Now, we're more susceptible to it because of what we were. We were a commodity ourselves. But America has built us into a group. You all remember that a while back, probably like 2017, I put up I played portions of the documentary. I brought it up, The Century of the Self. If you haven't looked at that documentary, please go look at it. It explains how we were transformed into a culture of kind of utilitarian. We use stuff up. We use things for their usefulness. We made things. We made our own food. And we were intentionally transitioned to like this consumer group where our job is to pay corporations. And the way that you do that is to be a consumer. And so we were made into that. And so it's almost like we get treated like we weren't a part of the same propaganda that the rest of America was. The only problem is that they have this buffer called whiteness that we don't have. And they engage politics, so they'll go and buy an iPhone, but yeah, they're a real Bernie person, or they're real down with whoever, and they're gonna go vote, and they're gonna do all this other stuff. Like, we will just act like we don't have to do the other stuff. Like, we don't have to be we just gotta be this. So we're gonna, I don't get into politics, but have you tried the sandwich? Yeah, I tried the sandwich, almost killed me. If you haven't tried it, there's no reason to. Let it go. Enough salt to kill a horse. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. I took the L so you didn't have to. Good as a Popeye sandwich, but come on, man. And it's just like, let me just say this. It's not just iPhones. When I say making blackness into a pathology, it's not just about how we get distracted by this whole thing. And we are getting distracted by talking about a chicken sandwich, and then we're going to have to come all the way back to where we are. But how many Black Fridays have we seen where people are in the stores when I talk about this, when I talk about how we've been made into a consumer culture? When I talk about that, how many of us have seen people fight at Black Friday who are not ADOS or who are not black, even black? How many of us have seen it? So why are we putting ourselves in this situation? Why are we using this to say like there's something wrong with us? No, there's something wrong with the soil. I would say there was something wrong with us if there was a healthy vegan restaurant or a healthy non-vegan restaurant or whatever across the street from the Popeyes, and we always went to the Popeyes. I would say, why now? Hold on, that's something. That's really odd. Why do we always go to the Popeyes? And there's a really healthy place over here for us to eat. No, everything in our community, if you're in a black, usually mostly ADOS community, everything in there is fast food. And there's a reason why we like it. It's chemically engineered for us to like it. Stop making this just about agency and will. It's chemically engineered to be delicious, regardless of what's in it. You smash that joint up with intestines and that's part of the reason I'd rather eat meat. Like you smash it up with all this other stuff and be like, it's chicken. Yeah, you spray it with all kind of chemicals that I don't even know what we would know what a chicken tastes like no more. If you really went and just grabbed a chicken, like a wild chicken off the street, like he just going on there, you come here, and you killed him and you ate him, it wouldn't taste anything like what we taste now. Like these are flavors that are sprayed onto things that they know to be addictive. I'm convinced that the McDonald's French fries, they know that's addictive because they spray that smell all the way. You can smell McDonald's French fries 10 miles away and you want to go get them. That's not natural or normal to be not hungry and then all of a sudden made hungry by a smell. So let's not act like this isn't chemistry too. You put this crispy chicken right here, dap smack in our communities. You give us all fast food, then you roll out a new one for $4, and it's a frenzy, and everybody wants to be a part of it, and then you blame us. Oh, it's black people with the chickens. What? No, all of this fighting and consumerism and stuff is all of us, but y'all put the chicken places here. You put the McDonald's here, you put the chicken here, you put the Burger King here, all these fast food places and stuff that do whatever they do to our bodies, you put them here. You didn't put nothing nice here. And you know we like it. You know we and I don't know why black people get embarrassed about liking chicken. Oh, don't you bring that up. No, but you that's why you did it. You made it like Southern. You put the little black woman on the commercial. Hi, y'all. I'm gonna cook. I'm over here cooking Louisiana goodness or whatever she said. Child. Whatever the heck she said. You all remember in the Century of the Self, there was the documentary I mentioned earlier. There was a very good part where, Betty Crocker had cake mix, and the women weren't buying cake mix, and they were wondering why the women don't buy cake mix. Why they don't do that? Because the cake mix is easy. You put water or milk or whatever in there, and you have a cake. I don't know too much. I don't like sweets that much. But you and you have a cake, and it was just like, why they don't like the cake? And they figured out that the women thought they were cheating their families. They thought we're cheating our families because we're not cooking for our families, and that's cheating. And so I think it was Betty Crocker, one of the cake companies, but I think it was them, figured out that if we add an egg in the recipe, not necessary, but if we add an egg in the recipe, then the women will feel like they really are cooking for their families. That'll give them enough ingredients, enough steps that they feel like they're cooking and they don't feel like they're cheating their families. Right? So what happens is they did that to make them feel a certain way. The egg was unnecessary. But they wanted them to be consumers. These women would have been much better just keeping cooking how they were cooking. Or, in today's America, men, whoever, just cook the cake. Nah, we want you to go buy a product that you don't need so you can be a consumer. America's always trying and rushing and doing things to make us become consumers because we're not even, that's the problem even with a citizenship, right? You push your citizens into this space where they're just tools for corporations, so we never really get to develop the kind of culture, the rich culture that we need. Now, there are some things that are good about not having an old culture, because old culture sometimes can't change and pivot and do things and be innovative. But there are downfalls to having a culture that is totally steeped and anchored in consumerism, and that's a problem. And it's an American problem, and we are Americans. You can't carve us outside of that. We experience the same thing that everybody else experiences. We are even more susceptible because of our wealth level. So no, we weren't in line to buy the $1,000 iPhone. We were in line to buy the $4 chicken sandwich. And that's nothing about, we know much more about the $4 chicken sandwich than the $1,000 iPhone because that's what we grew up with. And we grew up with that because of systemic disadvantages that accrue all the way back from slavery. That's what happened. Don't try to make this just about us. Don't try to make blackness into a pathology. Don't try to do that. This is not what this is about. We see this throughout America. This is not just us. And I'm tired of hearing people say that like, oh, here these black people go over a chicken sandwich. We can't get no reparations. We're going to buy a bunch of chicken sandwiches, ain't we? Reparations for me is a multi-generational project. And it's not about just one check. It's multiple checks over generations. It's multiple opportunities. It's multiple layers of protection for a group that has been exploited the same way we're being exploited now. With cheap meat. I don't even know what parts of the chicken is in there. I don't know what parts I ate. And I knew it when I bit into it. I knew what it was. I was under no kind of spell. There was no witch. I knew exactly what it was. We don't know what we're eating. We don't know what's happening. So the only thing that I know is what America is and what America is and what America has done to us. I know that. That I know for sure. That I know for sure. I'm 100%. You're trying to call us crazy for being American. This is what American is. Capital created, consumers, and that's what they created in us. Consumerism is culture in America in so many ways. And if you can't spend, what did George W. Bush say? After the 9/11, just go shop. What? That's a culture devoid of a lot of things. And you can't look at that. We had a president who told us to go shop. You can't look at that and then tell Americans, especially tell black Americans, oh, you're awful for spending. We have to fix it. No, I do agree that we have to develop a culture within ourselves that is more rich than the American culture. And to a large extent, we had or at least have. But the machine keeps pushing back, right? The machine pushes in our community. And since we don't have restaurants, it stands in for restaurants. That's what happens to us. A plant can't be healthier than the soil that's around it. It's not possible. And the soil around us is acidic and dangerous and all sorts of things. And one of the things I refuse to just talk about it and be always apart from it. You have to, it's a different thing when you actually experience it. It's a different thing when I tell you what I experienced at the Popeyes versus just watching the TV and seeing it. Now, I can't be everywhere all the time, but I can go to a Popeyes and have a chicken sandwich and tell you what the experience was there. It's different to be anchored in it and kind of see this is what they did. And they just didn't care. They didn't put out, you can put out those little chalkboard things outside to the ones that they have at restaurants and bars, with little funny things on them and lunch special or whatever. They could have put that out there. That way when you drive up, they don't care. Just you figure it out. That's what they told the workers. And also, even when you talk about unions and workers, these workers don't get any extra pay for all this extra work they're doing. You got a lot of ADOS people in those restaurants who all of a sudden you're doing triple the amount of work. and you're confused and tired and exhausted and making minimum wage because Popeyes decided to do a rollout of chicken sandwiches the wrong way. And everybody's like, oh, this is wonderful. We got the chicken sandwiches rolling. And the workers don't get any extra pay. Who's thinking about them? Like, see, we have to start thinking about stuff. We have to start thinking about stuff in a really big way. I'm a big fan of unions. Like, we have to start thinking about, like, if you don't have a union, the union can't be like, this is going to be more work. So they need to get time and a half or whatever. Or you haven't provided them the support for the rollout of these chicken sandwiches. So you just blaming the worker. It's not the worker didn't roll out these sandwiches. The workers just got thrown these sandwiches and then thrown to the wind when they run out. Popeyes don't care. For them, that's good advertising. Having all them cars in the drive-through, that's good advertising. They don't care if it lines out to the street. At least people know, right? That's good for them. They don't care. They don't care if you fight. They don't care. Buy the sandwich. Buy the sandwich. And let me just talk about this for a second. Can we talk about this for 1 second? You know, let me just say this. For those of you who don't see the bottom, it says, y'all out here fighting. This is Wendys. And y'all out here fighting about which of these fools has the second best chicken sandwich. That's Wendys. Popeyes. Sounds like someone just ate one of our biscuits because y'all looking thirsty. Let me tell you something. There are a lot of different takes on this, but I'm not a fan of black facing. Now, here's the thing. You can use vernacular or whatever you want to do in your tweets. But if there is please, Popeyes and Wendys, if there is a black social media, if you're a person who does your social media is ADOS, I'm all the way with you. Keep them, whatever, at least they're being genuine. I'll let it go. But if your person is a white person just mimicking ADOS-ness for the sake of selling chicken sandwiches for a white corporation, I have a problem. Because this is black facing. Why can't you ever just hire the Negro to do the work? I'm sure there's an ADOS person who is more than willing to be the social media of Wendys or Popeyes. Now people say, well, Yvette supporting corporations. I'm just saying they're going to have a social media person. They're not going away. Why can't the person who talks in black dialect be black? Why? And it's probably not. It's probably a guy who was probably a skinny little white boy in Converse. Like, why you gotta do that? Because y'all looking thirsty. You just benefiting off the culture, but you're not employing anybody from the culture to do that. Jeez, you can't even get a job. You eat all this chicken and can't even get work. We can't get work, can't get time and a half when the chicken roll out. You're supposed to have a regular pace when you work a job. This is what the lunch rush, this is what dinner. You ain't supposed to have no madness. Don't nobody want no madness in the job. People ready to jump over the counter because Popeyes organized this all wrong. This is insane. People are like, well, I don't know. I don't really believe in unions. Who advocates for you then if you don't believe in a union? Who does that? How that gonna happen? They jumping out. You got to have somebody advocate for you and say, no, this is extra work. This is extra work. I've seen pictures of, I didn't put them up because I don't want to embarrass nobody. I think that's awful that some of y'all took pictures of the Popeyes workers and how frustrated and tired they were sitting out on their breaks. Y'all are awful. So I would never share that. But there are a lot of pictures of Popeyes workers overworked, slumped down outside. This is awful. That they're having to go through this. Now the one and without no time and a half. Now the little man in front of me was energized because he wasn't doing nothing. He was confused. But that lady who was behind him, who was messing up the orders, but she was trying hard, she gonna be tired. And you have to work that out in wages. That's how this system works. That's how it works. Y'all good? All this is kind of, it just kind of feels a little black facey to me. Now, if you disagree, I understand, but I'm telling you the way it feels to me. Let me bring this one up. What was this? It had a black man dancing. I guess he was dancing over the sandwich. If y'all have the sandwich, just let me know if I'm the only one who's heart throttled. If y'all have it and y'all normal, then I must be abnormal, and I'll accept that. It's fine. It's fine. But what I really want to know what you all think about the program. I mean about the rollout. It wasn't really a program. It was it was a launch. I think the best way to call it is a launch. I think the best way to call it is like a launch, right? The $4 chicken sandwich launch. And before we get to the end, I want to say something else. Part of the problem that we have, and part of what I see when I go to Popeyes, like somebody can say any black capitalist can sell you chicken sandwiches. That's true. But if you get reparations and what you do is that way back when, 40 acres and a mule or whatever, if the land hadn't been redistributed to Confederates, what you have, if it's not redistributed, you have like ADOS with a class, right? ADOS with a class structure. So you have people who are part of your community who you can call on to, if there are a lot of them. It's not like, see, the thing, if you're like, well, the black capitalists don't do anything now, I get it. But what you're talking about then is that you have a group of people who you can call on. It's not just one. You have people represented in every category. So super elite, those who service the elite, upper class, upper middle, lower class. You have ADOS represented throughout. It's not just a funnel of money going out of the community. You also have us in the community. Right? So you have that money going there. And so what I want to say is, I don't think about Popeyes as much as why even the woman who has the vegan restaurant, how we don't have a bunch of restaurants to put in our own community, because maybe we can do it differently, because we wouldn't have been wanting Popeyes or this kind of food necessarily if we had been at a different wealth level. Part of the reason we want the Popeyes and the chicken is because we didn't never have the money to do the other stuff, to do the really big stuff. And that's why it's at a $4 price point in our community. It would have been different had we been given the opportunity to be different. But we weren't given that opportunity. We weren't given the opportunity to be truly American and normalized in that way. See, there's no Popeyes. There's really no Popeyes if there's no slave food, in the sense of not just chicken, $4 chicken. No healthy alternatives if you're even going to have a chicken place. There wouldn't be a Popeyes had we been able to fully access American life. And the way you fully access American life as a group, not an individual, is that a significant part of your group is an ownership class. And that's why the stuff that we talk about when we talk about Byron and everything else, that's why so much of what we talk about is kind of important, because, well, very important, because it's about ownership. Even when we had the whole, thing about the 1619 Project, one of the things that was so interesting in terms of my criticism is partly because, and people say, oh, Yvette, you went real hard on Nicole Hannah-Jones. The problem is, I went hard because of one specific thing. During that show, I had a lot of criticisms, but the hardness came out of, how do you know what you know and then say like anything about we're in a space of black ascension? This is not that. When you know that we are still a caste, this is not black ascension. See, and then she'll ask the question, well, how can you say that? Would you rather be born now, or would you rather be in 1968? And I would say this, and I think Ta-Nehisi Coates asked a question like that. I don't romanticize Jim Crow, but here's what I will say. You cannot ask our group that. Would you rather be born today or here today or in 1968? The problem is that we're still a caste. So that's like asking, how is the bottom now? Is the bottom now better than the bottom back then? Because we're still the bottom. We're still the bottom. We're still not an ownership class or a group, and they about to shut the door with this Byron Allen lawsuit. That's what they're doing. They're going to shut it down. So what you're really saying is that, are you okay on the bottom? Is the bottom better for you? Like now on the bottom, you got a phone. Now on the bottom, you got an iPhone. So how is the bottom? Is the bottom better than in 1968? You got technology now. But listen, to me, that question is like asking me whether I'd rather starve or eat slop. Well, eating slop, I stay alive because it has calories. But I don't want to do either of those things. I would rather be American in the way that means being American, which is with wealth. I don't want to eat slop. I don't really want to starve. I don't want to be a bottom caste in the country that my ancestors built with free wealth. I don't want any of that. And nobody's individual story is assigned. Like, you can't say, well, you're talking to me now, and I work here at the Times, and so isn't that Black Ascension? No, you working at the Times is not Black Ascension. Black Ascension would be us owning our own Times and telling our own stories. That would be Black Ascension. If we owned our own newspaper, we could tell our own story, because that project should have been in a Black newspaper. And the reason that it's not in a Black newspaper is because we weren't allowed to own things. We weren't allowed to be an ownership class. The only reason we go to Popeyes, we don't have restaurants. We don't have good things. We can't put like a slutty vegan, whatever it is, in every community and do what we want to do, because we don't have the wealth. We're not at the wealth level to do it. This is about us being locked out of ownership. People say, well, if you just give Black people money, they'll just spend it. Yeah, because what you're doing then is just giving us money. You're making us consumers. We want to be owners. We don't want to just be consumers. We want to be owners. We've earned it in this country. Stop. And that's the thing. This Popeyes thing is a big distraction. That's true enough. You're right about it. But the other side of this is we don't have ownership. So we just have to, we do have to hold Popeyes accountable for what they did to us by how they rolled out this sandwich. You couldn't even have, but the other side of it is we don't control any of the levers. And the one lever that we do, we're talking about the Byron Allen lawsuit. We have institutions that don't even want to do anything about it. Like these organizations don't even want to touch it, and we're not even talking about it. We're not even talking about it. See, and I'm gonna stop after this. But here's the thing. We saw this kind of with Ta-Nehisi Coates too, even though I appreciated his 2014, The Case for Reparations. I thought it aggregated a lot of information in one place that was necessary to make the case for reparations. But when you write, just like the 1619 Project, when you write in a white paper, what happens is they're always going to let you go up to the line, but you can't go over it. White media will let you go up to the line, but you can't go over it. So they'll let Ta-Nehisi Coates write all that stuff about the plundering of ADOS and what we went through and what was stolen from us. And then instead of putting a price tag on reparations and saying this is the cost and this is what America owes us, you walk up to the line, well, we got to study it. Then he'll say, well, we have to study all things, don't we? No, we've studied this enough. We've been here 400 years. You ain't got to study that much. Ain't that much studying in the world. Everybody wants to get us caught up in this space of studying and looking and thinking. We just got to study and study and study. And if we come up, no. We done studying. We done did all that. It's a bunch of books on it. If you don't know, go read them. That's your business. But we done with the studying. Holocaust survivors and the people who stand in their shoes, they ain't doing no more studying. And when that happened? We've been here 400 years going through the same thing. And people can say, well, we just got to talk about it. And we're going to send the 1619 to schools and we're going to teach them. No. You talk another 1,000 years. I don't even know if the planet will be here at that point. We'll be suffocated by that point. No, global warming and all that stuff. No. We're not doing that anymore. And everybody has to be on that page. Everybody has to be on that page. I don't care whether you go to Popeyes and get a sandwich, come home, eat it, whatever, and get back on your page. When you are writing for if you're writing for the Times, whoever, and they tell you, you know what, we don't want to do the reparations piece in this, and we'll do it next time. Wink, wink, nod, nod. Then you got to say, I'm not doing it. And you got to tell us who said you couldn't do it. Don't just say it didn't work out. Say they told me I couldn't do it, or I decided not to do it. Everybody got to be on the page. And I'm telling everybody, you don't get to be a journalist no more. And even with y'all with the chicken sandwiches, like I said, you go eat your chicken sandwich. When you come back, don't you keep talking about this chicken sandwich. I don't want to go on your page and you still talking about the chicken sandwich. Just go eat the sandwich or whatever. If you're gonna eat and throw it away, I'm not one to tell you that you can't have no fun or you can't do nothing. I understand it's right up the street. I understand that. I'm not trying to put a wet blanket over everything. Because that's sometimes what we do as people who are political people. We judge everything. I don't want to be that judgmental all the time of you or me. We're human. I understand that. I understand the fragility of that. I understand the need for that America has also created to find joy outside of yourself and kind of abnormal situations. I understand all of that. I'm not trying to do that to you. I'm telling you, you got to be able to do it and come back to what matters. You can't do it and be over there with the chicken sandwich. Oh, yeah, I'm going to give me another one. I like it too. What you thinking? Shut up. It's not important. It was lunch. Move on. And we got to all come out of that. Well, we have the right kind of attention and we come out of the same space with stuff that's important to us. I can go do whatever I got to do and deal with whatever I got to deal with it. But at the end of the day, I'm coming right back to this square. And the square that I'm coming back to, no matter whether it's a chicken sandwich, no matter whether it's something that's going on in the street, no matter whether it's a siren, I don't care what's going on in my world or your family life. You got to come back to the square of how to fix race, reparations, not some kind of racial exploration. Not I'm caught up in the chicken sandwich and I'm going to talk about that for 2 weeks. You come right back to your square. Every time, no matter what. That's the only way this works. And the square is fixing race, not exploring race, not talking about race seriously, not having a serious discussion of race. How do we fix it? We've been here long enough. Ain't nobody talking about that stuff no more. Ain't nobody talking about no more. Well, what we got to do is explore it. What we got to do is kind of figure out. What we got to do is we got to talk. We got to have a conversation. We got to have a conversation. I'm not having no more conversations with nobody. You know what it is. Stop playing dumb, America. Let's talk about the fix. Everything has to be the fix. You got to be able to go have whatever fun you have and come right back. You got to be able to go to a friend's house, laugh and talk and come right back. You got to be able to go and have lunch or a sandwich or whatever, or enjoy whatever frenzy you want to, they call it for the millennials, fear of missing out, and come right back. And you also got to know that I'm not going to be mistreated. If you go to a restaurant, I don't care whether it's Popeyes or nobody else. You got to be able to know I'm coming right back. I'm coming right back to what's important. This has to be important, and this has to be the thing that matters to us the most. There's always going to be Popeyes chicken sandwiches, or there's always going to be another release or a Patti LaBelle pie or whatever the case is. And I'm not saying that you can't on some level enjoy it, but you have to enjoy it first of all, and you have to think about the suffering of the people and think about how to fix that, because a lot of people who are in them Popeyes are ADOS and they going through a lot, and we got to think about them too. But you always got to come back to what's important. America's always going to throw something at you, and I'm not saying you got to just live as a monk and never deal with it, because that's what America has kind of built into it and put in our communities. You just got to come back. You just got to always navigate yourself back to what's important and important to our politics. You cannot get lost, because America is a noise machine. America is a noise machine. You always got to come back to what's important. You always got to be like a homing pigeon or bird or whatever and come back and turn it on. So I just had to say that. I want to get off. I want to hear what everybody has to say. Did you have the Popeye sandwich? Let me know. We all got to be honest. We got to be honest. I want to know what everybody has to say about the sandwich and the frenzy and what that means for politics or what that means for our community in terms of health. Whatever you have to say in that vein. So I'm gonna take a quick break, accept the phones, and I'll be back, fam. All right, fam, we are back. I want to hear what you got to say about the chicken sandwiches. Somebody say I cook at home. I do most of the time too. Lentils. Um, I think that's another one of the things that's a problem. Like it's actually cheaper to cook at home. I don't know if everybody knows this. I was just thinking about it with a comment that I saw in the chat. But it is true that America has the cheapest food of any industrialized country, which means that it kind of sometimes defeats the purpose. That's why I don't eat out a lot, because I like my own food and it's cheap. So I'm going to the first caller, fam. I'm going to the first caller. I want to hear from y'all. 925. I'm coming to you. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
I'm calling from San Francisco.
What's going on?
My name's Larry.
What's going on, Larry?
Hey, how you doing, Yvette?
I'm doing pretty good.
I have never in my life seen something as ridiculous this chicken thing going on.
The chicken, he said the chicken thing.
A chicken sandwich, though.
Yeah.
I mean, when I turned on the YouTube and that's all I see is lines of Popeyes chicken.
Yeah.
A chicken, $4 chicken sandwich is causing this madness.
Oh yeah.
This is ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
I come from the most hardest time in our life, and I just look up to you guys. I'm 65 years old. I'm looking up to you guys because you guys remind me back in the days when we were in the 70s, and we fought hard just to get a job. My God! But right now, I'm just saying, Yvette and Antonio and many more, I hope I can be here to get in the last fight, because I think this is our last fight on this planet. If you've been watching Hong Kong, I'm talking about China, are fighting the same way that we're going to have to fight. It's not going to just be an easy push off and think you're going to get anything from the United States. And I'm willing to fight for my grandchildren, for all the people who work so hard trying to be a part of the United States. My goodness. But when I saw this chicken sandwich thing, it just threw me way back. I don't understand this. You got to really push it and tell me what's really going on about this.
Well,
chicken.
you know what I thought. Honestly, the chicken sandwich snuck up on me, because you know what I thought was going to be the big thing. Because I thought, you know what I thought was going to be the really big thing that was going to be the chicken sandwich, but it wasn't the chicken sandwich because of the chicken sandwich, or maybe because they're like Chick-fil-A's aren't in as many poor communities because it's more expensive fast food. I thought the Chick-fil-A macaroni and cheese was going to be a big thing. I'm always watching all sorts of stuff, but I was like, they're gonna have us over there eating macaroni and cheese, and then all of a sudden it was the chicken sandwich. So the chicken sandwich, I was like, oh, it was the chicken sandwich. I was like, we finna go get all the mac and cheese. But I have been watching Hong Kong. They snatched a man up in the airport or something wild. I saw them say he was an infiltrator or something. I was like, I ain't never seen. Oh, they gang or something. What they doing? Yeah, I saw that.
Hong Kong is not playing. Those young men and young ladies, they are fighting for righteousness, and you guys are fighting the same way, but it haven't started. But when this chicken came along and got into the game, that kind of threw me off.
The chicken got into the game.
Yes, that's what it is. I don't even like Popeye chicken. It's the greases, lard, they use lard to make it. You know? But
yeah,
I want to say to you too, you guys, really seriously, being 65 years old, I'm down for you. I would put my life on line for you guys, because I really believe that this is, and really believe this is our last hope. If you ever get a chance, listen to Curtis Mayfield. This is our country. We need 300 years or more.
Thank you, fam. I appreciate it.
Curtis Mayfield.
Thank you, fam. I appreciate that.
Guys, man, for real.
Love you back, fam. I love you back.
Thank you too.
I appreciate the support. He was like, till the chicken got in the game. The chicken did get in the game. The chicken will get us all distracted, and we'll forget what we was fighting for. What the chicken? I was all right to the chicken. 313. I'm coming to you. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Yeah, how you doing?
Pretty good. How about you?
Okay, cool. I had to make sure I was on first.
Yeah, you home?
I'm good, man. It's a pleasure to meet and talk with you. I appreciate what you're doing for us, you know. And
and all that good stuff. Like, it ain't a lot of people out here doing what they can using these platforms, and it's a damn shame. To be honest with you, I'm sorry. You was about to say something?
No, I appreciate you. Speak up a little bit for me, bro. I'm sorry, my speakers ain't the best.
All right, hold on. Let's see. All right, can you hear me now?
Yeah, that's better.
All right. Can you hear me better now?
Yeah, I can hear you much better now. I thank you.
All right. I was just saying I appreciate what you're doing, all that good stuff, and because it's not a lot of people out here using their platforms to do, you know what I'm saying, the right thing. Especially, long story short, I just can't believe how they always throw the minor stuff that is like chicken. Come on, man. And people really going out here buying chicken and having chicken wars and getting thrown off, distractions. Every time they throw something at us, people just fall by the wayside, forget what's happening, and then we end up in a worse position where we were before. So I don't see how they don't understand, you know what I'm saying? Like, immediately when I saw it, I already knew what it was. You know what I'm saying? I already knew what they was doing and how they was doing it. But it got to be some way to where we can get these people to understand, like you was talking about consumerism, I believe. Like, we gotta figure out how to get our people to understand that, like how you were saying, to come back to that. It's all cool to have fun, but at the end of the day, we have fun, too much fun, and forget what's going on. That we basically just serve a purpose.
Yeah, well, if we have too much fun, we're basically kids. Like, that's what it is. I'm sorry. Like, if we have too much fun, we're basically kids. And I'm going to tell you this, in terms of food, an air fryer and a pressure cooker will change your life. Like, there's nothing you can't do with them two. You don't need nothing else. You don't need to be running up nowhere else and eating those. I ate the sandwich. You don't got to. You don't got to eat it if you ain't ate it. Don't do it. Don't do it. I mean, it's about like Chick-fil-A to me, but Chick-fil-A makes me kind of throttle too in my chest. Maybe I'm just sensitive to salt. I don't know. But I hear what you said, fam. You're right.
No, for sure. And I forgot to state where I'm from. I'm from Ohio. My name's James, and I just wanted to give you a holler, man, because I always come in and check in from time to time. Huh?
I said I appreciate it.
No problem. I always check in. I really look up to you, and I appreciate everything you're doing. I'm inspired. I don't know how I'm gonna get involved myself, but someday and sometime soon I will be. I don't know. I ain't got nothing going on right now, but I'm looking forward to helping out, man. Cause I noticed also like it got to be a gap bridge between, like, I'm 24. There got to be a gap bridge between people my age and you know what I'm trying to say. It just got to be a gap bridge.
I know what you're trying to say. I know what you're trying to say. Yeah, I mean, if you see something on Twitter or Facebook, or there's an ADOS meetup or something in your community, then do that. But but just stay engaged. We'll figure something out. We always figure something out what people can do and how they can help. So I appreciate you calling in.
Yeah, no problem, man. Have a nice night.
You too.
I appreciate you.
Appreciate you too, fam. I appreciate you for calling in and let us know what you think. I want to go to 310. Lightning. 301. I'm sorry. 301. Dyslexic or something. Don't laugh on the line.
Hi, Yvette. This is Morgan from Staten Island, by way of Prince George's County, Maryland.
Okay. What's going on with you?
I was sitting here for a minute, and I was thinking about this chicken sandwich thing, and it seems absurd, but I thought about it for a minute, and I said, you know what, I think we're just frustrated that everybody goes back on their word with us. We're supposed to get reparations. We don't get reparations. And we can't get a chicken sandwich. They're supposed to have a chicken sandwich. Can't get a chicken sandwich.
We don't like being lied to. We don't like being lied to now.
Yeah. And let me take it from that place and just to a little personal place about me for a minute.
Okay.
I got a master's degree and I got it in 2017. I've been unemployed for 11 months with a master's degree. And I thought that getting this piece of paper, which I had to get $80,000 in loans to get. Why? Because I didn't have employment to support myself while I was in school. So I'm in a situation, and I'm like, I think my people, all of us may be in this situation. People are saying that this will be here for us, or that we have access to it, when in actuality, we don't. And if we get close to it, you're going to snatch it away from us, or if we do get it, it's going to be valued less. So this sandwich thing is just, it's probably just one more thing, like a straw to rub a back for a minute,
Yeah, you're anticipating it too. You're anticipating it. No, I think you have a point. You're anticipating it. Because, one of the things I like to do is to pay attention to myself and my motivations and everything that goes through me. Like, even in the line, like I'm anticipating something, right? Because I've heard it's good. Now you don't have to, I've already, like I said, I've taken the L, so you don't have to. It's not nothing to write home about. I don't know what people was eating. But I think you're right. Like, we're always anticipating something that doesn't come through. And like, no, I'm not going to do this. I've been working hard or doing whatever all day and it ain't coming through.
Right, and just one more point that I want to make.
Go ahead.
And when we tell people of the reality that we're experiencing, they invalidate it because it's coming from us. And I'm like, well, you can only hear our reality coming from us because it's our reality. And I had this problem this evening, and when I was calling Prince George's County, Maryland, speaking to my mother, and she totally invalidated this whole chicken thing as it may be about something else other than the sandwich. And
like what?
She said, well, you're just listening to that Black Power stuff. Those people who want reparations. And I just said, oh, for God's sake, I'm batting 1,000 here. And I had the hang phone up. I spent time, trying to, tell the situation of, where we are as a people. And some people just don't want to accept it. I've made a decision. I can't talk to her about it.
But what did she think the sandwich stuff was about?
It's sad.
What was the disagreement about, though, between you and your mother and the sandwich? What was she saying?
Okay, well, see, what happened was, when I was telling her about the chicken sandwich, and I said, have you looked at some social media, YouTube and stuff? She goes, I don't look at any of that stuff. Only thing they want to do is get clicks or likes. That stuff is just acting.
And we don't get much of them.
Wait a minute, Ma. I said, wait a minute. There's people fighting fist fights. That's not acting. I don't think anyone would act that. But she just totally invalidated it. And she said she doesn't want to look at any of that stuff because she wants to feel good about things. She says she's old. She just wants to feel good. I say, okay, fine.
You just hit on something. Like, I think that's why people put their head in the sand. Like, I just want to feel good. Except it doesn't last long, right? So you'll tell me, well, don't tell me about that politics stuff. I just want to feel good. But then you need money for stuff. Then you need money for stuff that politics was supposed to fix, right? So now you don't have the money for something that you need that should have been dealt with politics, or something that we have with race, that we are a bottom caste, and that's why you don't have the money. Now you want to talk to me about the money, but you don't realize that the money is politics. So I don't want to talk to you about the money because you don't want to talk to me about the politics, because the money is the politics. What we didn't get in terms of reparations and all of that stuff, and who we are now in terms of a bottom caste, that's politics. But you don't want to talk about that until the politics comes and it's on your doorstep. Then when it's on your doorstep, all of a sudden you want to be like, well, can I have $2,000? My leg is jacked up and they're going to, whatever. Then you want to talk. Now you want to have the conversation. And I think that's we all who are having the conversation, we're going to have to start swallowing maybe some real hard pills and telling these people, like, this is politics. This is not a loan. This is politics. And this is the politics that you won't do. And this is the consequence of the politics that you won't do with me. This is it. You are talking about it. Every time you ask me for money, you're talking about it. And we don't have money. None of us have money. We know what the data looks like. But we be responsible. Oh, no. Well, you want to talk about politics. I want to talk about whether or not you got the $200 for my copay. And you want to talk about politics. No, it's all politics. It's politics. I'm not lying. So I think we need to have that conversation, help people understand, like, this stuff that you don't have is politics.
Okay.
And if they don't want to hear it,
thank you very much for listening.
No problem, fam. And if they don't want to hear it, we got to be cognizant of that. Like, if you don't want to hear it, then I can't be there with you like that. I can't do it. I can't really afford to do it anyway. We don't have nothing like that to be out here affording stuff. And you tell me what you don't want to talk about. You don't get to tell me what you don't want to talk about. Who do you think you are? Well, I just want to be happy. Yeah, you want to be happy until the bill comes. Well, I'm old. I just want to be happy. Yeah, till the bill come. When the bill come, you don't want to be old and happy no more. You want, well, you just start a new job. Grandma, if you don't get somewhere and just be happy with whatever's going on with you, because you don't like stuff politics, and your gout is politics. Anyway, I am going now to 504. 504, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, Yvette, this Earth Saint in the chat. What's up?
What's going on? How you doing?
Chicken sandwiches.
What's going on with them chicken sandwiches?
Well, Yvette, look, I'm like you. I like your approach. You know, everything isn't like, you know, ADOS. You don't blame us for everything. And I appreciate that balanced approach to a lot of things that happen around us. Like you said, America's a machine. You know, it's noise constantly.
All the time.
So, you know, so I appreciate that, because on YouTube, because I follow you and Tone and others, I get the you know, you get tied to different YouTubers, and they always attacking ADOS for everything, and they always saying we the reason, and these are pro-black people. Like, I don't understand this. Like, I don't get it. We didn't create this. Like, we're not the creators of this, but we get the blame. You know what I'm saying?
We didn't even build the Popeyes. It's not even like a black capitalist built the Popeyes and put it over there. We didn't even build the Popeyes, child. We didn't put nothing over there. What you talking about? That's the only thing that's there, though. If there's going to be any kind of restaurant in your community, you're probably going to use it even at the lowest occasionally. Like, nobody, see, that's the problem. Like, nobody ever blames the corporation. Not only for the mismanagement, but the quality of nothing.
They get off the hook.
Yep.
They get off the hook, and one of the things that, when have we ever ate the best food in this country? Let's be real.
When have we ever had the resources to? Yeah.
The food, access.
Yep.
We've never had it.
Nope.
So this is just a continuation, right? This is just a continuation, just a different form. It's just wrapped up nicely, and you know, it's not all or it's, you know, it's none of that, but it's just wrapped pretty, right? Mm-hmm. So I don't understand why we're always under attack by people who claim they're pro-black.
Yeah.
Because I've seen way more other cultures in those lines where I live at in South Louisiana. This is more than just ADOS there. ADOS aren't working. I see them working. You know, and one other thing, y'all want to say it's poison? They say, oh, you feed you poison. So you let people who sell poison in our communities off the hook, though. They get off the hook, right?
Yeah. Well, it's not only that. Like, the stuff is intentionally addictive. Like, I don't eat it a lot. I ate it to figure out what was going on and what the craze was about, and I wanted to have I didn't want to have this conversation, but I was like, I might at some point need to have a conversation. What is going on with this sandwich? Because if it was a phenomenal sandwich, this would be a different conversation. I would still have a lot of the same criticisms, but I would kind of understand how I would have understood how the sandwich caught fire. I would have been able to say, yeah, it ain't good for you, but I understand how this thing caught fire because I tasted it and it was heavenly deliciousness. So I wanted to know. I felt like I needed to know. But But I understand exactly what you're saying too. Like we don't even with the healthy stuff, we don't get that. Like that comes with wealth. Like a lot of that comes with wealth, and a lot of this is they chemically make it that way. A lot of what we do too is stress eating in terms of rewarding ourselves with something because we don't have much money, but we do have $4. There's a lot that goes into this.
Absolutely. Yeah, Yvette. So look, I look forward to the next book. See y'all in October.
All right, fam. Look forward to it. Thank you. I want to appreciate it, fam. I want to hear what y'all got to say about this sandwich. I am going now to 404. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
My name is Valerie Field.
What's going on, Valerie?
I'm calling from Fairbanks, Georgia.
Okay. What's on your mind?
Yeah. Well, I'm surprised that my amazement is that no one has mentioned the health issues concerning this type food altogether. This year in January, I had a health scare, and I was fortunate enough to visit doctors in a medical facility that took me off everything, that I was eating and drinking, and placed me on a whole food, majority plant-based diet.
Mm-hmm.
And anytime I eat meat, it has to be something that's, that's free range. For example, chicken, if I add that to my diet once a week, but no more than once a week or twice a month am I eating any meat at all. And most months since January, I've gone to pretty much a whole food plant-based diet.
Mm-hmm.
My serum levels, my blood pressure, my weight, everything has just amazingly changed. Within a matter of 6 to 7 months. And with the obesity rates and the high blood pressure, the diabetes, the clinics and the type medical facilities that are popping up in mainly, but primarily black communities, it's amazing to me that we're even, at a time when whole food, plant-based diets have been promoted in majority communities and throughout health facilities throughout our country, for all Americans, that black Americans, or poor communities like us, these type foods have been pushed on us.
Yeah.
The meat is certifiably unhealthy. All the antibiotics. We don't know where this chicken is coming from. This type of food, the fried content. None of us should really be eating fried food. Even our kids, have diabetes rates that are out of range, and the obesity rates altogether. It's astounding to me that we're not looking at the health issues associated with this. And even, I'm not a big social media follower. I do watch your show a lot, and I really do appreciate it. It's one of the premier outlets that I'm able to enjoy. But, on social media and the internet altogether. But, even Beyonce was pushing this whole food plant-based diet, and increasingly we see the athletes like Cam Newton and Tom Brady. These people have all adjusted and adapted themselves to primarily whole food, if not, and I don't want to say the word vegan, vegetarian, because that's a dirty word to a lot of black folks. But we need to look at this from a health standpoint. And my heart is breaking, and my spirit is breaking really to hear folks clamoring after this unhealthy food. That food has never been anything healthy for anyone, and certainly with this, in this day and age, with everything that we're looking at, our health, our ability to think, our kids who are suffering in so many different ways, having learning disabilities and all kinds of issues with attention spans and things like this, it can be, traced directly to the kinds of food and all that sugar and salt. And
yeah. It was so salty. It was so salty, man.
I'm kind of concerned.
Ma'am, it was so salty. It was so salty. I was just saying it was so salty. It was so salty. And it's the kind of salt you don't taste until you don't really taste it like that because it's just in there. I learned a long time ago that the salt they inject into the chicken breast makes it swell up and get bigger, so you feel like you're getting more chicken, like, this is a really big chicken breast, when really it's just filled with salt water. And that's kind of what, and it happens. Yeah, Chick-fil-A too. It happens. That's what they do with the chicken breast. And like my body has a hard time with it. Yeah.
And the hormones that they're injecting into these foods to increase the animal's, size.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, when you get a big old huge chicken breast like that, it's injected with so many hormones to make the chicken grow faster and larger, and it's obviously ruining us. I don't get it. Even from that standpoint. And black folks, I mean, we just cannot afford it. You know, we can't afford to be eating out like that anyway, even if it were a healthy, food product. But this food has been declared unhealthy by so many different standards. It's just not, it makes me very sad. I can't think of I'm using small words like I've printed it now. Sad is the biggest word I can come up with right now because it just makes little to no sense. And then we're behaving as if we don't know any better.
Well, what I will say, one of the things is, and I said the cost of food in America, but the thing is, I hear people say all the time, and like you said, vegan and vegetarianism. I rarely eat meat. And the thing, you don't miss it after a while, and even it's not as expensive as people think. Especially like Kroger got the 10 for 10 if you live in one of those areas or whatever. Vegetables typically aren't like unless unless you're going all out. The Brussels sprouts sometimes can take you there. But like I'm just saying, as a rule, like you can get veggies for cheap. You can get whether it's lentils, black eyed peas, whatever you want. You can get them for cheap, and so it's not a matter of cost. Yeah, it's not a matter of cost. Right. It's not really a matter of cost in terms of like having yourself a healthier diet. And I think what they mean is like when you go in a vegan restaurant or something, they're gonna sell you something like this is lentils a pupa or whatever. Like no, I can't. Why does that cost so much more than 10 lemon pepper wings? Don't make no sense. But like in terms of how you cook it at your house, it's much cheaper. Like it's much cheaper if you make your own food.
Oh yeah, but my grocery bill I've cut my grocery bill really by half.
Yeah, meat is expensive. Meat is very expensive. Yeah, meat is expensive.
Yeah, meat is very expensive. And then if you notice in the grocery stores, increasingly grocery stores are adding like the grass-fed, 100% grass-fed beef and things like that. That meat is actually not a whole lot more expensive than that regular ground beef that's just, with all the chemicals and additives and products in it that we really don't even need to ingest at all. So I hear people talk about it. People, we're just eating poorly, and it's reflective. I've never seen black communities look as bad as we're looking now with the big bellies, the big thighs, the big everything. We're looking like animals, honestly. Walking around here, and I don't mean to disrespect anyone. My family is not a small, frame people. My dad was 6'7", and he's a kind of slim man. But I have brothers, 8 brothers, and they were all like 6'2" to 6'5" to 6'6", and they're big guys. But they were not obese people. They, we didn't have all this belly fat and. All
right, I get you.
All this overlook stuff at the waist. We just didn't have that because we ate. I grew up pretty much in a rural farm area.
I understand, fam.
We grew up a lot of farming. So,
I appreciate it. I appreciate your call. I understand exactly what you're saying. I appreciate your call. Yeah, they pump this stuff into us just to sell us stuff. Like they put that in the community to sell us stuff, and they be like, "Well, what you gonna do? It's not gonna be a restaurant. You're not gonna have no restaurant. So you want somewhere to go and kind of." Well, I think we're gonna have to. There has to be a way for us to kind of start getting back to developing community. We might have to just cook for each other. I mean, like, we just, somebody, we just got to do it like that because this isn't going to work. And I can tell from the chicken sandwich it's not going to work. It's not going to work. Anyway, I'm going to 786. 786, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, Yvette, it's Demetrius calling from Lake Mary.
What's going on?
Hey, I just want to share a quick story. I know you asked people, to talk about their chicken sandwich experience or whatever. So I'll tell you a quick story. Yeah, I'll tell you a quick story. And there's no moral to the story, but I just want to just share my experience. And it's like basically, I heard people talking about it. People were talking about it at my job, at work, and today after work, I decided I was gonna go try this chicken sandwich from Popeyes.
Okay.
So I catch Uber. So I got in the Uber car, and it's funny because I heard Tone's video where he talked about, all the chaos and stuff that comes along with trying to get this chicken sandwich, and that's kind of what happened to me today. I got in the Uber car, and I said to myself, you know what, I'm gonna buy me a sandwich and the Uber driver a sandwich, and we'll just try it out together. So we get to Popeyes, and I noticed there wasn't, like, I said to myself, I said, I wouldn't be surprised if they ran out of chicken sandwiches. And sure enough, I walked up to the door because the line with the drive-thru was so long. I walked up to the door to go inside, and sure enough, they had a sign saying, "We're out of chicken sandwiches." And then I turned around and I saw this huge line of people, and I'm thinking to myself, like, man, I wonder if they know they don't have any more chicken sandwiches.
Nope, they don't know.
I was like, I bet when they get to the front, the place to order. I said, I bet they'll be pretty upset to find out there's no more sandwiches left. But then here's where the chaos came in. The Uber driver, I don't know if you ever caught Uber, but the Uber driver ended the trip. Like they quit the trip. Like as soon as I came out, I went in the restaurant. I came out 30 seconds later. The Uber driver just left me there. They didn't even give me a warning. Because they were supposed to drop me home afterwards, but they just ended the trip.
Why?
So then I had to go and file a complaint. Yeah,
why they end the trip?
I had to go file a complaint. Why?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just asking what you think.
I don't know why they did it. I was confused. So I had to go file a complaint against the Uber driver, and then I stand in line to get the food, and then I almost got into an argument with the lady, the cashier. Because she was upset. You could tell, and I almost got into an argument with her. And then I had to wait a little while to get my food, and then I go to get something to drink. I mean, the drinks were fresh coming out the fountain, and it was a hell of an experience. So, I mean, that was my experience, and I'm not. There's no, like I said, there's no moral to the story. And if you want to try the sandwich, you can try it. If you don't want to try, if whether you do or you don't, it's your business. But I mean, I just wanted to share my experience because that's what you asked us to do. So that was my Popeyes.
What? Let me ask you. Let me ask you, fam. What'd you end up eating at the Popeyes?
You know what?
Did you eat?
I just got like a 2-piece and like a 2-piece spicy white meat, like red beans and rice. But because I had to wait for like an extended period of time, like the manager was like, "Do you want to get an extra piece of chicken?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." And he was like, "What piece of the chicken you want?" And I was like, "Give me a breast." I was like, "Let me get the biggest piece of chicken I can get."
Yeah.
But yeah, that was it.
So how you feel about Popeyes after this? You cool because they gave you a breast, or you feel a certain way about it?
No, you know what? I still love Popeyes. I've been eating it for like 22 years, for a long time. So I still love Popeyes. Still one of my favorite places. But I'm not. But I understand what y'all are saying about all the chaos that started. And
I can tell.
I think they could have definitely.
I can tell, fam. You're one of the ones that take the Popeyes biscuit home and put jelly in it yourself. I can already tell. You put the jelly in the biscuit.
I did. I used grape jelly. I seriously, I put grape jelly in it. I did. I did that tonight. I put grape jelly in it. I did.
How I know? I know my people.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you, fam. I appreciate that. Oh,
yeah, sure.
Thanks, fam. That was a good story. I can't believe the Uber driver left. The Uber driver like, this is chaos. This is wild. I don't get paid enough. My car is here. I don't get paid enough to sit here and wait for him to go in there and try to get a Popeye sandwich. He could be here 45 minutes. I'm getting the hell on. I'm going to 510. 510. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, Yvette, what's up? This is Shanice out of Oakland.
What's going on? How you doing?
Yeah, what's going on? What's up? I didn't know about this chicken sandwich situation, and I'm pretty upset because my children are the one who told me about their teenagers, young adult teenagers, like 18 and 19, and they had told me they went out and got some chicken sandwich from Popeyes. And I said, I could have cooked you some chicken. I could have made you some chicken because I stress homemade meals also, too.
Mm-hmm.
The last time I called you, I was cooking. And they told me they had to go to 3 or 4, I think it was 4 different Popeyes. I said, you go to 4 different Popeyes? That's gas money. You're wasting gas money. But I'm upset with Popeyes because it's like, Popeyes, we don't need no chicken sandwich. We need a check from our government. We need some policy put through, some laws put in to protect us from Popeyes chicken, churches, and Kentucky Fried Chicken. And after we had that conversation about the chicken farmers, the black chicken farmers, and what they do to black chicken farmers, if anybody saw that show with you, I mean, I would be concerned about who's cooking my chicken, who's raising my chicken, and who's cooking my chicken.
Could be the racist man. Could be the racist man. Remember him? And from the story.
It surely could be.
Allegedly.
And a lot of our young brothers and sisters who have jobs at Popeyes, they're telling us the chicken is being tossed on the floor, oil is in the tea, and roaches is in Popeyes. And I'm not trying to slander the place, but the videos are out there. The videos have been shown on Instagram. And Popeyes, running out of the chicken also too, and people having to go to more than one Popeye, it is ridiculous. Where did this come from? Was this something to distract us? I
would never have went to more than one Popeyes.
Say that again?
I just said I would never have went to more than one Popeyes. I wouldn't have stayed if it was a line. If I walked in and there was a line, or if I'm out.
And I'm out too, and with these shootings going on, I've been telling my children, avoid crowds, go the opposite direction too. It could have been a setup, could have been a shootout there.
You never know. You never know, fam. You never know.
Yes, you never know. We really have to think. And I remember we used to go down to Popeyes when I was in college. I went to Grambling State University, and we used to go to Popeyes on Canal Street. I learned about it through the brothers and sisters from New Orleans, because they had a big one on Canal Street in New Orleans. Popeyes doesn't even taste the same anymore. The beans and rice, the chicken is not the same, nor the biscuits are the same either. A lot of people don't know that. That whole recipe, I don't know, has been hijacked or something for that food. But to have us come out to get a chicken sandwich, I just kind of think that it's just a distraction to get us out of alignment of what we really have to be concentrating on here in the United States of America. And that's another thing they do to us as a people. They put out these challenges, and they distract us with all of this little stuff on the outside as far as black people, and they make a mockery of us also too. We have to stop allowing them to make a mockery of us. Those days should be over. We should no longer want to be made a mockery of ourselves out here. I mean, the issues at hand are very, very serious, and I think we need to start telling the youth, because the youth are the ones that really need to know about this movement as far as American descendants of slaves. Because, like I said, my children went out, and I looked at Tom's video also too, and he talked about having the Black Friday babies. And yes, we do have those Black Friday babies where, they're stimulated by social media and any kind of thing that's a hype or, that gets mass attention online or something, and they're out there wanting to buy it, wanting to go, to these places. And we have to be very, very careful. So from this incident, I said we really need to educate the youth more so out here about the movement for the American descendants of slaves, because it did attract a lot of our children. A lot of the children I know did go out and get that chicken sandwich. I told them I could have fried them some myself.
Well, according to reports, Chick-fil-A, you were talking about that. Chick-fil-A buys poultry from a company that abuses chicken. According to WXIA, the farm and slaughterhouse are owned by the supplier to cook foods. Remember we talked about before on the show? So,
that's right.
Yeah, so
that's right.
Yeah.
Sure
I don't know why you doing that, Chick-fil-A. Yep.
Yeah, I don't see what makes us want that chicken anymore.
I appreciate it, Carl. I want to thank you for calling in. I'm gonna go to the next one. I appreciate you calling in and telling us your experience about all the. There's a lot going on with people in these chickens. There's a lot going on. You don't really need the chicken. But I totally understand I can't believe the Uber left that man over there like that. 773, I'm coming to you. 773. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind? Hello. 773.
Hey, Yvette, this Carl from Chicago.
What's going on? How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing good. I'm even better now. I heard the beep. I'm like, okay. Hey, no. Huh? Yeah, hey, okay, let me collect myself. But, when I want to call on, I did take the chicken sandwich.
Okay.
I tasted it about two months ago.
Where were you at?
So it's already been out.
I said, where were you at? You know, they had some places that had it early, like little pilot programs for chicken.
I'm in Chicago.
Oh, okay.
I'm in Chicago, and I saw you when you was at the library out here.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm in Chicago. They had it like two months ago, and I go to Popeyes, and I just saw Tone's story, like, if people really just trying to try it. But I go to Popeyes, so I tried it. It was cool. Mm-hmm. And with like the sodium, a lot of food has sodium. Mm-hmm. I saw you small, so that sodium probably got to you.
It did. It got to me bad. It got to me bad. I wasn't well.
Yeah, it probably got to you. But no, it was decent. But you know, it's like a lot of foods. Sometimes you got that salty batch, and then you got that non-salty batch. But what was crazy is the whole kick, and it's just like we eating this, we eating that, and but what I want to get on too, like to kind of blend everything in, I think what you guys doing is like so much politics. Sometimes the people need something to like, and the only word that come to my mind is like dumb it down, or just get something simple. We gonna do this now. Mm-hmm. But really not getting off subject, you know.
Yeah, I think what it you know, I think sometimes people need a release. I just wish we had a different release, and I think the part of the reason we don't have it is because of what we've been made into, like what has happened to us, and what we've been kind of consigned to, like this bottom where you just only have fast food, like high sodium content food. That's the only restaurant, and that's what you're used to because that's what you kind of grown up on because you've been a bottom caste for a long time. So it's so much of it just goes back to how we've been relegated in this country, and I think we need to blame corporations and blame the country for like this instead of just being like, oh, see, if Negroes didn't just eat chicken sandwiches, everything would be okay. No, it wouldn't.
And I want to bring something back because you remember Friday. This was me who brought up the I don't think black people know what black exploitation is.
I remember that.
Yeah, and I want to go to another route. I don't think black folks really understand what propaganda is, because I want to put all this thing in the raps where I heard Tone, and he hit it, because I understand when he was like with the baby standing in line. Well, I forgot what he said, with the parents standing in line, because I was born 81. So my mother stood in line too, same route, same 16-year-old parent, this thing and that, and he hit on it. But I want to hit on something else where I think it's propaganda, because propaganda started where we went to war. And the men was over there, the women was over here working, America strong, you know, propaganda, we're American, we working this and that. Now, if America's flipping to corporations, then Popeyes, Chick-fil-A, and Wendys, that's a corporation. They can all be sitting back and be like, oh, you know what? Let's see. Let's fight each other and see who's winning.
Yep.
They can go that route. That's propaganda, because you said something too where like advertisement created propaganda. So it's almost like it's scary and funny, but not really. It's just scary and all in the same bunch because you got a whole bunch of people that's just like coming from an era that don't know black exploitation propaganda, and it's just like, holy shit. And you put it out here too fast.
You still gonna eat Popeyes?
I don't think,
You still gonna eat Popeyes?
I like all food. I'm wishy-washy. Hey, you know what? I'll eat Popeyes and put their ass out of business tomorrow.
He said I'm wishy-washy. What kind of answer? I'm wishy-washy. I might not. Sometimes I get a hankering.
I'll eat a two-piece, and then I'll be like, all right, hey, here goes some money to protest tomorrow.
I appreciate.
That's the true American way.
I appreciate your honesty though, because people are like, no, never again.
No, it was something else it was something else that I want to say. But it's like it's so much with like it's like with the youth where it's like it was like with the older generations where like now it's like it's because that last lady that called and she was going on this and that and talking, but it's like, I think that's what it was. It was like, you know how, and I like to watch the murder trials and things like that, and when the prosecutor like, we too advanced for the people, and I like how you having this conversation where it ain't that caliber, but it's like, okay, maybe the younger you can be like, okay, we see what she's talking about. It ain't just straight facts and they head swelling.
All right, fam. I appreciate you. I gotta go to the next call, but I appreciate you.
No problem.
I appreciate you, fam. You was honest. I appreciate you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I appreciate you coming out at the event that was in Chicago too. That was awesome. Oh, I appreciate it. This is an interesting set of calls this time around. I appreciate the honesty of it all. I am going right now to 562. 562. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Yvette.
What's going on?
This is Tracy calling from Long Beach. I'm a long-time listener. Well, I think I'm a long-time listener. I started listening to you when you came out with why black people don't care about sanctuary cities.
Oh, that wasn't the title. YouTube, that wasn't the title.
That was the title. Yes, ma'am. So I'm on my cell phone. I hope you can hear me fine. But I did want to call in. I just wanted to chime in. I haven't called in before. Okay. Obviously, I love what you and Tone are doing. I can't say enough about how astute your analysis are of just everything. So I do want to thank you guys for that. But, I will say I did have a chicken sandwich this week. Okay. I didn't go to Popeyes. I went to Jack in the Box because I'm not about all that BS. So I really don't know what the chicken sandwich tastes like. But, I was listening to a few other people, in the black media give their analysis. And, aside from, folks online getting clicks for, being very extra about the chicken, and the sandwiches. Also, someone brought up something that I thought was kind of interesting. I think it was Jason Black. And he was just saying, that, and you tell me your take on this, and I'll go ahead and hop offline because I know people are waiting, but is this a thing where, yes, we are Americans and we do have a right to partake in American culture. That's just what it is. Mm. But at the same time, we're seeing all of these shootings, we're seeing all of these killings. Is this a way for Black America to kind of, lay down and kind of expose our belly to the dominant society and say, we're not a threat, there's nothing to see here, we're going to toe the line and be, what are your thoughts?
I don't think so. I think we were just raised up on this. Like, the dude who said 22 years, You know, I can remember eating every kind of fast food in my teens. I don't think there's a fast food that if it was around when I was a teenager, I ate it. Like, so I think, and it's not like food that's not, like I said, chemically engineered. So it becomes like a long-standing habit, and it's you have a lot wrapped up in it too. Like, there's a certain nostalgia. Like, you know, when I was in high school, I went to Dairy Queen a lot. I haven't been to Dairy Queen in at least 10 years now. But like, and I probably further than that. But the point of the matter is just like there's a lot psychologically too kind of wrapped into that, and this is like a moment. So people are trying to be a part of this moment to talk about what you think of the chicken sandwich. Well, it wasn't quite as moist as I think. Would you think it's better than Chick-fil-A? You know, whatever. And I had that conversation. Do you think it's? I think they both make my chest pop out, like my heart jump out onto the table. So do you? But that's because of what they use, that sodium that they use to pump the chicken up to make it whatever, you know. And I haven't had Chick-fil-A in a while, but I still remember that experience in terms of how my body felt. But even before that, like, I remember Chick-fil-A when there were malls, right? And I went to the mall with my mom. So, like, there's a lot wrapped into it that I don't think we have necessarily unpacked that we need to unpack. And like what Antonio said about the Black Friday babies, we've kind of grown up, like, not necessarily Gen X is what I am, but the millennials and the ones below that have kind of grown up on this type of hysteria over consumption. So this is like a moment, like America has made culture and consumerism synonymous. So the way people bond is over these consumer moments as opposed to like something that's normal. You know, it's not just graduations for us, or it's not just getting together for a meal in terms of family or tradition. They have kind of locked culture with consumerism, and there's so many other things going on that I think what needs to happen at this moment is that we have to unpack all of this in terms of do politics so we can be able to pivot. We have to really start understanding ourselves, not just like politically. That's part of it. That's the next part of it. That's this next step. But psychologically and everything else, we have to understand why we respond to things the way we do. So that's all a part of it. That's what I say.
Yeah, no, I can understand that. I can see that to be true. But yes, that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you, Fam.
Thank you for what you do.
I appreciate
wish I could come see you guys. The tickets are sold out. So I'm not going to be able to do that, but we'll see what you guys are going to do about the streaming. And otherwise, I continue to support you and Tone. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much.
Fam. I appreciate it. We're going to our last call now. Like I said, I don't want to go take up all of the time tonight. So I'm going to the last call. 757. 757, what's going on?
I was going to use Yvette, but that's been hijacked. Look, you know, I always like to bring you a little something extra. I'm going to ask you a question, and I'm actually going to slow down since everybody else is going on the slow road at night. I had heard my boomer friend call in to talk trash to you. I was starting to get jealous. Look, this article came out in 2010, but I'm going to ask you a question. How many chicken sandwiches did you have in your youth that were all the same size and the same thickness? I got time.
I had a lot of them because I had my chicken sandwiches when I was young with Dairy Queen chicken sandwiches. My mother cooked chicken on Sundays, sometimes for Sunday dinner, but those chicken sandwiches were on the bone, so they were all different sizes. But a lot of my chicken sandwiches were Dairy Queen sandwiches. That's why I went for lunch in high school. So. Not healthy.
And I actually worked at a Dairy Queen in my youth. That's when it was chicken pot. Now, I'm going to read a quick passage and go to you quick. If you're eating chicken now that's the same size, let me tell you what's in Chicken McNuggets. Part of what's in this is a dash of an anti-foaming agent made of silicone, and it's used in chili putty and cosmetics. This is an article from 2010. I sent it to you on your phone. And I actually put the title in the chat so that people can look it up.
Okay.
But it's also got a heaping spoonful of TBHQ, which is a chemical preservative in a form of butane, which is also lighter fluid.
Oh.
1 gram of TBHQ can cause nausea, vomiting, ringing in the ears, delirium, a sense of suffocation, and collapse. That's according to the Consumer's Directory of Food Additives. 5 grams of TBHQ can kill you. So my point to you is, Ain't nobody eating a chicken sandwich today that's not made out of a whole chicken part that is all chicken. Now, here's the interesting part. Most of the rest of the ingredients are some derivative of corn. And that could be pulverized chicken skin and mechanically reclaimed meat from your chicken. So you see why they got immigrants working in slaughterhouses, because all of that little stuff that comes off the whole chicken, it gets sent to the people that sell you the chicken sandwiches. If you don't believe it, look it up. I can guarantee you I probably eaten 5 chicken sandwiches since probably 1978, 79, because I first started finding out about this. A guy named Michael Taylor in the early 80s went to the FDA, and they changed all of these rules to allow this to happen, which goes back to something Tone talked about tonight, so because people are to connect the dots. Now you understand why that type of fast food is targeted to certain demographics. That's why you can't find that in certain parts of LA, because those people aren't going to eat it. But the people who have the least amount of wealth, they make it convenient for you to say, I'm not going to cook tonight, I'm going to grab this and keep moving. So if you read that article, I can guarantee you that people with any sense in the chat will never buy another chicken sandwich from Popeyes or any other place that your chicken sandwich is the same size every time you get it. Nothing hangs over the bun. It all is the same thickness. And half of it is not even chicken meat. It's chicken parts and reclaimed meat that came through the processing plant.
They call it reclaimed meat. Reclaimed. Go on. Woo. Go on. Always tell them about it.
It's a game, and it goes back to something else that you keep talking about. That is why we need reparations. We need to be able to raise chicken from the farm to the distribution channel.
Absolutely.
And we know what we put in our mouths. Most of the stuff that's sold in America can't even be imported into Europe and Britain for just that reason. Even the macaroni that's made in this country has to be reformulated in the country, in Europe or Britain. They will not even use the very same processing plant. We have to understand we're being abused in every place that you can be abused. From finance to the food you eat, to the land you live on, to the houses you live in. We got to get serious about this and stop laughing and joking. I'm like Tone. Tone, matter of fact, tell Tone I said the best clip I did him do, and he done some good ones, but that one he did today was spot on. Give him a hug for me. Much love to the Breaking Down family. We better get real. Start using these keyboards for something other than acting the fool. Get serious, do the work. And I'd like to see people, even if you don't want to read Yvette and Tone's tweet, hit the like and the retweet. Because see, Twitter even give you an option now. You can retweet without a comment. Since y'all don't like to use emojis. So get these things up so we can be trending and get this thing done and get reparations. I'd like to have that gift before I close my eyes. I know y'all are capable of doing it. Recurring training, do the work. Worthy warriors know what the hell they're talking about. Much love to you.
Appreciate it, Otis. That ain't even. Otis told y'all that ain't even chicken. That's why if you buy a chicken with a bone in it, it costs more because that's a chicken. They know that because that's a chicken part. This right here is a part of whatever came out of a bunch of chemicals or whatever fell on the floor. And they slop it up and toot it in there, and from the rooter to the tutor, the rooter to the tutor. I ate the sandwich so you didn't have to. Everybody invest in a pressure cooker, so you don't have to boil your beans. Just invest in that, and let's just move on from there, can we? So, fam, that is the last call of the night. If I didn't get to you, I apologize. But I wanted to make the show shorter than it is, actually. But here we are, as usual with me. Fam, please, before you go, please hit that like button. Please hit that share button. Please do all of that. If you want to donate, go to donatebrown.com or patreon.com/WaCarnell. You can also go to subscribe to Brown, TOBrown.com. That's just me having your email address or whatever. the newsletter address link, if you want to do that, will be in this video or a previous video. If you want to just go get it now, you can do all of that. And this has been an interesting sort of evolution about a chicken sandwich, about everything that's wrong with a chicken sandwich and the politics of how they got here. It's been a wide ranging kind of conversation. So I appreciate everybody who took part in it. We will have another conversation soon, as we always do, fam. So till next time, don't forget to pick up the book and read this right here. Remember, this is our next book. We don't have a date for it yet, but this is our next book club book. Please do not forget about it, and please do not, just because there's not a date, just be like, oh, I'm not gonna do it. Please just do it so we can have a real book club conversation. I'd appreciate it. And fam, finish your libations and good evening.